Hi, it's Delia. Thanks for clicking on. I'm so glad that you're here. Today is Friday, the 27th of March, and we've been at this virus like since March 15th, let's say. So it's 12 days now. And there's so much cacophony and there's so much upset. And I get so much feedback from so many different people about physical aches and pains or interrupted sleeping or sleeping more or sleeping less, sleeping for 4 hours and being awake for 4 or 5 hours and then sleeping for 4 hours again. There's just tons and tons of um, energy that's up for people's bodies right now. And that's separate from the virus. We'll do some work on the virus in a minute. But right now, let's just look at the energy and what's going on for you. Um, People have talked about, um, like an agitatedness. I've noticed in myself. I'll be on the internet and trying to do something somewhere and come across the news, and some um, really hateful expletives come out of my mouth. Which I don't have a judgment about that, but sometimes it catches me like, whose energy is this? I mean, I know there's a lot of stupid going on. Stupid has a very specific meaning here. It's unconscious and or anti-conscious. And usually it also includes thoughtlessness and carelessness, all of which are in abundance right now. And anybody who's ever had any kind of a trauma, and I have yet to meet a body that doesn't have some kind of trauma, the trauma is being activated. And I mean, in a way, thank goodness that we've had a few years to get used to that. Since the election, there's been a lot of trauma triggers. And one of the good things about that is that people are more, it's in the common vernacular now, this whole gaslighting thing, and being curious if you're being gaslit and just having steps to take if you're being gaslit. So, and that's if you know it, because part of gaslighting is like a hypnosis kind of a thing. So there's just a whole lot, a whole lot. And some people have been talking to me about they're feeling like giddy, like excited, like everything's falling apart, which doesn't make any sense to them because everything is falling apart. But it's like they're experiencing the lightness of it. So if you're having a sense of lightness about all of this, don't make yourself wrong for it. It doesn't have to make rational sense, but it's like your spirit is like, oh my God, finally we can come out of the hypnosis, we can come out of the lies. And that is a very enlivening kind of thing, because then it's like, what can we create? We have lots to do. And sometimes people are like, not at all that way. They're like, doom and gloom. The zombie apocalypse is what I've been really, really, really aware of, especially in that first few days. I was just like, I don't even watch zombie movies. Why am I seeing all these zombie apocalypse movies? I know they're, all over the TV, and all these different companies use the zombie apocalypse images to be, hip and sell a crap. But there's really nothing fun about a zombie apocalypse. And energetically, the reason it's been so favored in the past, since 9/11, is because there is a lot of that zombie quality to the way conventional life has been being conducted. And this whole idiocy about not stopping the entire economy. It's insane that there's even a conversation that says that keeping the economy going is on par with keeping people alive. I mean, that's an insane, if you were alive before 9/11, you know for a fact that that's an insane proposition. And so that just brought up a bunch of stuff. So let's just, everything that just brought up, let's just destroy and uncreate at all times a godzillion. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Shoo, 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 shoo. Yeah. All right. So this is kind of a long entry in, but what we're really here to talk about is what steps can you take right here, right now, to increase your immune system. And I don't mean your biological immune system, although this will help your biological immune system. But if you think of the images on TV, the images on the shows that have been so popular, right? Much less the news, right? These are all varying degrees of toxic. Anything having to do with the news right now is like 98% toxic. Am I supporting that you don't be informed? No. I am supporting that you be actually informed and not lied to and into a hypnosis of lies, which is what the 24-hour news cycle has devolved into. Even the people that maybe you like and you think of as good. I know this has happened for me. It's like they're so involved in it. They eat, sleep, and or everything. The story of how bad this is. Again, not saying it's good, just saying the story that they're propagating has a lot of that hypnosis energy in it, a lot of the doom and gloom, a lot of the zombie apocalypse. And as long as you have that energy, just feel how it feels just to hear those words. Usually it's like a suppression, like weight on your chest, or maybe shallow breathing. So that weight, however it shows up for you, it might be like a dullness or you need to go to sleep. However it shows up for you, there's for energy to feel heavy like that, there has to be a lie in it or misinformation, or it doesn't belong to you. So now, just for comparison, think about something that come rain or shine always makes you smile. Could be a grandbaby, could be Yellow Submarine. I know a woman it's a specific pizza place in New York where she grew up. Think of something that's true for you that always makes your body smile. Yeah, see? What do you notice when you're thinking about that? There's like a lightness. There's more space to breathe. It's easier to breathe. Body spontaneously starts to smile, right? And there's like a buoyancy, that kind of like that giddiness that I was talking about. So that's all you need to know. Those two things are your no and your yes. And for those of you who have been around me before, this would be a version of your paint thinner and water, right? So when it's heavy and dark and contracting, that's your no. And when it's light and bright and expansive, that's your yes. And this is the way that your higher self uses the sensations of your body to give you direction, to show you what's true for you. And this way you can get the information viscerally and tactily in circumnavigating the nutty box, because there's a lot of nutty in our heads, right? And the media is, it doesn't really matter what the source is, but everybody can feel that there's just a whole lot of craziness going on right now. So not ingesting it is a good idea, right? Now I've done this experiment before. So if you didn't watch any television, if you didn't listen to the news, if you didn't seek out the news on Facebook or whatever your social media routine is, I guarantee you're still going to know the news. Because the news is not really that stuff that they're yammering about for 24 hours. Let's try it this way. If you don't care about basketball one way or the other, and you're not going to be watching basketball games, right? So somebody who, let's say there's a coach in the family. So the coach in the family, basketball coach, is going to be really interested in that game, and particularly in the commentator. He wants to hear the yammer jammer, because for him, the basketball coach, it's not yammer jammer, right? It's not jibber jabber. But if you don't really care about the sport and you're not invested in it in any way, you don't have a kid in it, you're not about to become a sport coach, right? Then you don't need to listen to the yammer jammer. You don't need, none of that pitter patter is going to make any difference to you. And, at dinner, they can tell you about the score. What's the outcome of all that yammer jammer, right? You don't need to be there for the blow by blow. And a lot of the news has been taken over by the yammer jammer of the process of talking about what's happening. It's not even, it's like beta. And we're not making anybody wrong. I'm just saying that doesn't need to be in your diet, right? If you are a politician, that's a different case. If you work on the Hill, that's a different case. If you work in a law office or in a medical facility, these are all very specific cases that it's not yammer jammer to you. But if you're an arm coach, what do they call it? Is this the Monday night arm coach quarterback? You know what I mean, because I don't know what I mean. I don't know anything about sports. But if that's what you're doing, stop it. Your body really needs to be walking right now, or painting, or dancing, or making up a dance, or gardening. This is a great time to be gardening, right? But doing something that's real. Right before all this started, maybe somebody would be watching sports because they had a hard day or week at work, and this is what they do to relax. Well, if you're not doing the what you used to do, then relaxing is a different thing, right? So allow these invitations to change up how you do things, to inspire you on how can you do things differently now. I know somebody whose husband was watching reruns of games from like 2008. That's fine, but what if you're not doing the 9 to 5 thing right now? Then you don't need to be doing the Saturday the afternoon thing 9 to 5 every day. See what I mean? It's contrast. It's balance. So we know it's really bad. It may get worse. It may get better. We don't. That part nobody can tell. That's all. Fortune telling. That's all gambling on the future. That's all making it up. Some of it is based on projections, but there's better ways for you to be spending your time right now that are actually more supportive for you. So Teddy Roosevelt, who was a great character, he's the one who came up with talk softly and carry a big stick. And he started the national parks. He did a lot of really interesting things. And he had a thing that said, do all you can with what you have from where you are. So if you do all that you can with what you have from where you are, that's going to fill up your day. And if you do that every day for 7 days, you're going to be in a completely different place than when you started. You know, if you were to stand on the sidewalk in front of your house and point yourself in the direction of way down at the end of the block, and you started taking steps to get to the end of the block, you can't help but get to the end of the block. You can meander, you can lose your way, you can dilly-dally. But if you're putting one foot in front of the other, you're not going to be in the same place where you started, put it that way. And right now, there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of possibilities that didn't used to be possible that anybody can see now. And the ones that you see are the ones that you can do. They're the ones that excite you. They're the ones that you resonate with. So what can you do today to make the world that way? You know, starting a garden. If you plant a garden, especially if you've never done it before, you're going to get all that time and energy, all that exercise, and you're going to be outdoors. And all that hands in your dirt is just really, really great for your body and for your immune system. It's very validating. Plus, you get to eat in 6 weeks, or depending on what you're growing or where you are. So, your mental health hygiene includes not doing the news. And if you're going to do any kind of news, do it the reading kind, because you can stop and start what you take in. You can't really stop and start what you hear. It's harder. And you can find a trusted friend or two and you can ask them for recaps, right? Because you want to shorten the amount of time that you are listening to all that yammer jammer. You don't need to listen to an hour of yammer jammer. You certainly don't need to listen to more than an hour. And you can get the highlights in some specific ways so that you're not doing that all the time. You know, this is kind of like that energy of 9/11, of just watching those planes go over and over and over again. It's not good. It creates a lot of trauma loops. So don't do that to yourself. And then don't expect yourself to be sane after you've been doing it for a while. Think of it as like, okay, if I'm going to watch this news program, and I understand that it's the equivalent of taking, 5 shots of tequila without the fun, right? You're impairing your system. Just know that. And you can tell because you feel crappy. And if you're not watching the news and if you're not keeping up with the latest trauma drama, you're not going to feel so crappy. So, what is it that you want to have in your life? Most of us have had our lives arranged around what I have to do, what I'm trying to avoid, and what I do to avoid what I have to do, those kind of things, right? And that's the structure that's falling apart. Thank God. So what if you didn't play that shell game and started to ponder, well, what is it that I want to do? And I don't mean save the world or, discover electricity. I mean, like, what do I want to do today? What do I want the world to be like? I know one woman who wanted to have more of a social life. So she started having happy hour through Facebook Lives. They made a little Facebook page and they would have Facebook Lives, and they met at a certain hour and they'd visit and meet new people and have happy hour. So there's no end of imagination. There's no end of what's possible right now. And these new way forwards are exactly what's being called for right now. Now, I'm going to do another one of these with the virus itself and the difficulty of if you have it or if you know someone who gets it or that kind of thing, the mortality part of it. But for your mental health, what is it do you want to create? What is it you've never had time to do? You can learn Italian. There's plenty of ways to, right now, you can learn anything. You can go to museums online. You can do all kinds of stuff. And what would you like to do with people, right? Because we can have more of a connection even. That's one of the things somebody was talking to me about, is that she's having more connections, real connections with people than when she could go out and see people. So don't, let's see. If you didn't look at these things as limitations, what else is possible? So asking that question, what else is possible in this situation, that when you can perceive, it changes everything dynamically. And anything that doesn't allow that, we destroy and uncreate at all times a gazillion. Yeah. Whew. Yeah. And you when you ask these questions, what else is possible? This is not school. This is not call and response. You are not waiting to regurgitate an answer to get a score. This kind of question is really about opening up a space and kind of getting reason a little bit out of the way, because infinite possibilities and creativity does not live in reason. It lives past it. And the question of what else is possible now starts to open the doors. Another really great question for right now is, truth, what is right about this that I'm not seeing? That when I can perceive, it changes everything dynamically. And anything that doesn't allow you to perceive it, destroy and uncreate all that times a gazillion. Right. Yeah. So again, just maybe close your eyes and just truth. What is right about this situation? That when you can perceive, it changes everything dynamically. And anything that doesn't allow you to see that, just destroy and uncreate at all times a gazillion. Whew, yeah, baby. Yeah. All right. So self-care is actually something that you can develop. It's a practice you can start to develop right now that actually helps everybody. We have all these crazy people with television cameras in front of them on national broadcasting, right? What if 10 of them were sane? What if 10 of them didn't speculate? What if just even 10 of them just stuck to the facts as they are and didn't repeat them over and over again to fill up an hour? Everything that doesn't allow that to happen, let's destroy it and create it. Yeah. There's another really great one, is what would it take for the pot stirring insanity that's known as TV to be replaced with sane TV? And anything that doesn't allow that, let's destroy it and create it. Yeah. So what can you do to nurture and nourish yourself and to boost that richness of you? You have this wonderful place to stay. You have access to whatever you need. You're creative. You can come up with creative alternatives to whatever you're missing right now. And you can pat the body touch is one of body's first languages. So some way of just kind of really appreciating your body. Good body. Good body. And just be curious. I wonder on the other side of this, what wonderful possibilities could we have implemented? What nurturing for this, thriving for all um, practices can we have instituted by the time we get to the other side? And you don't need to stick to what you can see or what you can say. Just go for the luscious, luscious energy where all bodies are thriving and supported and the system support being human. And just feel that lusciousness. Yeah. All right. Hey, thanks so much for being here. I'm so glad that you're here. And leave your comments in the notes below or write something in the comments below. And just be really kind to you. Remember, you can't give what you don't have. So start by being that kind presence for you. And then it just kind of flows out of you. Easy peasy. All right. Thanks. Bye.